So Shylock expresses his surprise and asks Lancelot, "What are their masks?" He says, "Is there any masquerade today?" Then, hear you me, Jessica." Then he calls Jessica and says, "Do you hear me, Jessica? Lock up my doors, and when you hear the drum and the wild squealing of the naked fife, clamber not you up to the casements then." So he says to Jessica, when you hear the sound of the drum and the wild squealing, wild means unpleasant, squealing means sharp, shrill sound of the necked fife. Ray means crooked, necked, fife means flute. So he says, when you hear that sound of the drum or the unpleasant sound, sharp sound of that flute, clamber not you up to the casements then. Casements means windows. So don't climb up on the windows to see the masquerade going on into the street, nor thrust your head into the public street, nor you thrust your head, no, nor you put your head into the street to look on the masquerade, to gaze on Christian fools with varnished faces, so that you can see those Christian fools going on in the procession with their faces painted. But stop my house's ears, I mean my casements. He says, but you try to stop the sound from entering into my house. Let not the sound of shallow foppery enter my sober house. So he instructs Jessica that she should not let the sound of shallow foppery, the sound of superficial stupidity of these Christians, enter his sober house. But by Jacob's staff, I swear, I have no mind of feasting forth tonight. Now, Shylock swears by the staff of Jacob. Jacob, who was an ancestor of Shylock, Shylock swears by him and says that, I swear by his staff. So, the staff has been used in the book of Genesis of the Bible, where Jacob boasts that he had only his staff when he crossed that river Jordan, but when he returned, he had companies of men with him. So Shylock swears by that staff of Jacob that he does not want to go for a feast that night, like he does not have a mind to go for that party that night. But I will go. But he says, but still he will go. Go you before me, Sirrah. And then Sirrah means servant. And then he says to Lancelot, Lancelot, you go before me. Say, I will come. You tell your master, you tell your new master Bassanio that I will be coming for the party. Lancelot Gobo, I will go before, sir. Mistress, look out at window for all this. There will come a Christian boy, will be worth a Jewish eye. So Lancelot Gobo says, I will go before, sir. He says, okay, sir, I will go before you. And then he says to Jessica, mistress, look out at window. He says to Jessica that, look out of the window in spite of whatever your father has said. You should look out of the window, because a Christian will be passing by in the street, and that Christian deserves the eye of a Jew. That means that Christian is really worth being looked upon by a Jewish, like you should look that Christian. Obviously he is referring to Lorenzo. Shylock, what says that fool of Hagar's offspring ha? So Shylock asks Jessica, what did this fool, that is Lancelot, who is the son of Hagar, said to you? So here Hagar has been referred as the mother of Lancelot. Actually, Hagar was the slave woman. She was the slave of Abraham's wife Sarah. And according to Old Testament, the Gentiles were the people who were being hated by the Jews, and Hagar was a Gentile. So that is why Shylock is referring Lancelot as Hagar's son. So Jessica replies, his words were, farewell, mistress, nothing else. So Jessica lied to her father and said that he only bid bye to me and nothing else. Shylock, the patch is kind enough, but a huge feeder. So patch here refers to fool. Shylock says the fool means Lancelot. He is a kind fellow, but a huge feeder. But he is a glutton. He eats a lot. Snail slow in profit, but he is as slow as a snail in some good work. And he sleeps by day more than the wild cat. And he says he sleeps during the day more than does the wild cat. Drones hive not with me. He says, I don't want drones with me in my hive. So, drones, you all know, drones are the male bees in a hive who never work, who do not labor to gather any honey. They live on the food being prepared by other worker maids in the hive. So that is why Shylock is referring Lancelot as an idle person, and he says he does not want any idle person in his house. Therefore, I part with him, and part with him to one that would have him help to waste his borrowed purse. He says that is why, since Lancelot is an idle, that is why I have allowed him to leave me. I want to part with him, and I wanted to part with him and let him go to that person to whom he will help in wasting his borrowed purse. Means he will help Bassanio in wasting his money which he has borrowed from me. Well, Jessica, go in. And then he instructs Jessica and tells her to get inside. Perhaps I will return immediately. He says, obviously, I will return immediately. Do as I bid you. Do as I have instructed you. Shut doors after you. He says, you shut the doors after you get inside. Fast bind, fast find. Fast bind, fast find means if you lock a thing up, you will find it safe. So this is a proverb which he has used here. A proverb never stale in thrifty mind. He says this proverb, it is never too old fashioned for a person who is very careful. After saying this, Shylock leaves the stage. Jessica, farewell, and if my fortune be not crossed, I have a father, you a daughter lost. So Jessica bids farewell to her father, and then she says to herself that if my fortune be not crossed, if my fortune be not crossed means if nothing went wrong with the plans that I have made, if my fortune favored me today, then I have a father, you a daughter lost. Then today I will lose a father and you will lose a daughter. That means when Jessica will elope with Lorenzo, obviously she will lose her father and her father Shylock will lose his daughter. After saying this, Jessica also goes out of the stage.